Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah today granted an audience to Singapore's Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister Lawrence Wong and his wife Lu Si Lui at the Istana Negara. Comptroller of the Royal Household for Istana Negara, Datuk Seri Ahmad Fadil Shamsuddin, through a statement released, said the meeting with Wong, who's currently on a 3-day working visit to Malaysia, lasted 30 minutes starting at 12 noon. Datuk Seri Ahmad Fadil said in the meeting, the two leaders touched on the special and long-standing close bilateral relations between Malaysia and Singapore. He added that His Majesty expressed the view that as neighbouring countries with deep historical and people-to-people ties, Malaysia and Singapore needed to continue to work closely in various fields and levels, especially in the recovery phase post-COVID-19. Al-Sultan Abdullah said it was important for Malaysia and Singapore to complement each other and strengthen social relations, trade and investment to the highest level for mutual benefit, including for the people of both countries. Meanwhile, His Majesty also expressed his appreciation to the Singapore government for his upcoming 3-day state visit to Singapore starting 19th September. The Malaysian Drone Technology Action Plan 2022-2030 MDTAP 30 will be developed as a national agenda to support the drone ecosystem. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said these were among matters decided at the National Digital Economy and the Fourth Industrial Revolution Council he chaired today, which was also attended by ministers and heads of departments and agencies involved. In a statement, he said the Malaysian Research Accelerator for Technology and Innovation (MRANTI) will be the coordinating agency and secretariat of MDTAP 30, which will submit progress reports to emerging technology clusters. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said the Traffic Management for Unmanned Aircraft System (UASTM) will also be developed to improve the efficiency of the drone operator registration process to increase UAS registration by 2030. In addition, the meeting also took note of matters raised by industry players such as bureaucracy that will be looked into as part of the efforts to develop the country's drone industry. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said the drone industry in Malaysia has the potential to generate growth of 50.71 billion ringgit to the gross domestic product GDP and is capable of creating 100,000 job opportunities by 2030. Meanwhile, the Premier said the government will also strengthen cooperation with Microsoft Malaysia in the field of cybersecurity and online fraud cases to support the country's digital development vision. The Prime Minister said a comprehensive program will be implemented for Keluarga Malaysia, including awareness forums, skill workshops and technical training for the public and private sectors. In addition, the meeting also agreed to establish a Sharing Economy Committee to be helmed by the Communications and Multimedia Ministry to coordinate the initiatives and programs related to the sharing economy at the national level involving the public, private, community and academic sectors. The National Digital Economy and the Fourth Industrial Revolution Council also agreed to implement strategies related to the development of the Omnibus Act, Public Sector Data Sharing Act through the Public Sector Data Sharing Policy and the National Data Sharing Policy to improve the country's data sharing ecosystem to be more conducive. On another matter, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said the government will set up a Sustainable Development Goals SDG Centre to empower and intensify SDG programs in the country and to keep track of their progress. The Premier said that the establishment of the centre under the Prime Minister's Department Economic Planning Unit was given the nod during the National SDG Council meeting which he chaired yesterday. In a statement, he said this Sustainable Development Agenda requires comprehensive and inclusive involvement as well as efforts from all parties so as to raise the level of awareness among Keluarga Malaysia at a grassroots level and also among private companies. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said the meeting had also agreed on voluntary local reviews (VLR) at the local authorities, municipal and district councils as well as state government levels in which a minimum of one report must be provided by each state. The Prime Minister said each state is encouraged to prepare the VLR as a guide in monitoring Malaysia's progress towards national development growth in order to achieve social, environmental and economic balance. The Finance Ministry MOF is committed to continue supporting the medical device sector as one of the main growth sectors at the tabling of Budget 2023 on 7th October. Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz, through a statement released today, said the medical device sector's contribution included creating 39,000 job opportunities from 2017 to 2021 and contributing 41.3 billion ringgit in exports in 2021. He also said that of the 30 largest medical device industry players in the world, 10 operate in Malaysia, including Pulau Pinang. In 2021, as much as 7.7 billion ringgit in total investments has been attracted by the medical device sector, including several companies that have been operating in Bayan Lepas for up to 50 years and companies that are in the process of building a new factory in Batu Kawan. The minister said he recently held a Budget 2023 state tour session to Pulau Pinang to complete the tour to all states and shared a dialogue sessions with more than 20 players in the medical device industry together with the state's Chief Minister Chow Kon Yeow. He said this effort is also in line with the establishment of the latest public consultation paper for the Budget 2023 entitled Policy on the Use of Local Research and Development R&D Products, Services and Technology in Government Procurement. The study on the construction of the East Coast Expressway Phase 3, LPT3, has been completed and submitted to the Economic Planning Unit EPU of the Prime Minister's Department. Senior Works Minister Datuk Seri Fadilah Yusof said his ministry is waiting for further action from the relevant agencies and the EPU would decide if the expenditure for LPT3 would be allocated in the first rolling plan of the 12 Malaysia Plan RMK12 or later.
Ini bergantung dengan kemampuan kewangan kerajaan dan juga keutamaan yang dikemukakan di setiap negeri.
Elaborating further on the matter, Datuk Seri Fadilah said the ministry's responsibility was to conduct research and now they will have to see what is the next course of action in terms of allocation. The government had previously approved the implementation of the construction of LPT3 with preliminary works totaling 35 million ringgit. The proposed constructions involves a 150-kilometre stretch from Gemuruh Terengganu to Tumpat Kelantan. Datuk Seri Fadilah added that the planning, construction, maintenance and management of the federal and state roads covering 254,000 kilometres must also be looked into to ensure they remained resilient. Meanwhile, he said MRC 2022 and the 4th Asia-Pacific Regional IRF Congress would be held simultaneously from 11th to 13th October at the Kuala Lumpur World Trade Center. Malaysia is focusing on the ASEAN developing countries to support Malaysia's rubber sector as there is global demand for local rubber. Plantation Industries and Commodities Minister Datuk Zuraida Kamaruddin said, despite the rising competition globally, the ministry is confident that Malaysian manufacturers will keep their competitive advantage through pricing and advancement in research. She urged all stakeholders in the rubber industry to ensure a secure and sustainable future by balancing socio-economic progress with environmental concerns.
But looking at the international market, like I mentioned, there are a lot of countries that's asking us to open up factories in their countries because they believe the need for rubber gloves is still there. In view of the new culture, the new trend that people are very hygiene conscious and cleanliness conscious, so therefore the usage of rubber gloves should be extended to the households, to the other industries as well.
Datuk Zuraida was speaking at the launch of the 10th International Rubber Glove Conference, an exhibition held in conjunction with the 3rd International Rubber Industry Convention and Expo I-RICE and the Rubber Conference 2022. According to Datuk Zuraida, Malaysia has successfully produced a new generation of natural rubber and graphene composite for the manufacture of aerospace balloons. She said this underscores the achievements made by the Malaysian rubber industries. Barisan Nasional needs the mandate of the rakyat of Johor in the 15th general election GE15 to ensure the compatibility between the state and federal governments.
Diteruskan dengan acara penyampaian sumbangan untuk itu.
Its Menteri Besar Dato' Onn Hafiz Ghazi said the parallel cooperation between the state and federal governments is crucial to ensure continuous efforts in advancing and accelerating the development of the state.
Tapi saya dekat sini bukan apa politik. Saya memikirkan agenda seperti apa Datuk Zainal sebut tadi. Nak majukan negeri Johor ini. Dan kalau nak majukan negeri Johor ini, tak cukup YDP, DO, Exco, ahli adun-adun dan saya tak cukup tuan-tuan dan puan. Walaupun kita ni dah kerja sebagai satu pasukan, kita memerlukan sebuah kerajaan yang juga stabil di peringkat pusat.
For Johor, GE15 is expected to only involve tussle for 26 parliamentary seats. The Johor state election in March saw BN win 40 of the 56 state seats. On another note, Dato' Onn Hafiz said Kulai has a great potential to be developed and is a strategic investment destination. He said for Johor, including Kulai, it is fairly easy to attract investment. When its value is high, it means there will be an economic impact. In terms of job opportunities, higher wages and income will all bring benefits to the rakyat of Johor. Coming up, contraband cigarettes worth 7.7 million ringgit seized. There's no need to add new conditions in the nomination of candidates to contest in the coming election, especially for representatives whose cases are still pending in court. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Parliament and Law, Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar said the existing election nomination conditions enshrined in Article 48, subsection 1 of the Federal Constitutions are adequate. Commenting further through a statement released today, Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Junaidi said the individual who's convicted and sentenced to jail for not less than 1 year or fine not less than 2,000 ringgit and did not obtain a pardon would lose his eligibility. He said that matter needs to be read together with Article 48, subsection 5, related to the nomination, election or appointment of any person to Parliament. On the individuals who have been selected as a Member of Parliament, Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Junaidi said the membership of the individual would not be revoked unless the conditions under Article 48, subsection 5 of the Federal Constitution relating to Members of Parliament have been convicted and have not been pardoned. He said that Article 48, subsection 4, subsection C states that when the last process, which is the pardon, fails, then the membership of the Member of Parliament is automatically terminated. Article 48 of the Federal Constitution has 6 provisions related to the disqualification of a Member of Parliament. Police seized 1,029 boxes of smuggled cigarettes worth 7.7 million ringgit, including tax, in a raid on a warehouse at Jalan Belati, Taman Perindustrian Majujaya, Kempas, Johor Bahru yesterday afternoon. Johor Police Chief Datuk Kamaruzaman said during the 12:30 p.m. raid, police confiscated about 51,000 cartons of cigarettes of various brands. However, no arrests were made. In a statement, he said the case is being investigated under Section 135, Subsection 1, Subsection D of the Customs Act 1967. In a separate case, Datuk Kamaruzaman said the police arrested a 42-year-old local man at a petrol station in Jalan Harimau, Taman Abad, Johor Bahru yesterday, suspected of being involved in the purchase of subsidised diesel. Also seized in the 2 a.m. raid was a lorry loaded with subsidised diesel. 30 minutes later, the team also arrested another man, aged 29, at Taman Ungkutun Aminah here and seized 17,722 ringgit cash, believed to be for the subsidised fuel transaction. Following the arrest, police raided another subsidised diesel storage in Jalan Belati at 11:20 a.m. Police also nabbed 3 foreign nationals aged 26 to 34 and seized 46,000 litres of diesel worth 159,722 ringgit, a lorry and a receipt. The suspects have been handed over to the Ministry of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs for further investigation under Section 21 of the Control of Supplies Act 1961. 1,055 child abuse cases were recorded by the Welfare Department between January and June this year. Of the total, 578 cases involved physical abuse, 417 cases involved sexual abuse, and 60 cases involved emotional abuse. Deputy Women, Family and Community Development Minister Datuk Siti Zailah Muhammad Yusof said of the 1,055 cases, 706 victims involved girls and the rest are boys. She said police statistics showed that 1,348 sexual abuse cases involving children were recorded in the first 6 months of this year. Rape made up the most cases reported to police nationwide at 641 cases, followed by molest, 438 cases, incest at 127 cases, gang raped at 47 cases, and carnal intercourse against the order of nature at 95 cases. Datuk Siti Zailah added that the government had taken measures to address child abuse, including setting up a social media special action committee and launching safety campaigns. She said the ministry has set up a special action integrated management team to handle children's issue led by the minister. The ministry has also set up the 15999 Talian Kasih to enable the public to channel information on child abuse to the ministry. She said the ministry had appointed 299 welfare protection officers to handle the issue. The Royal Floria Putrajaya 2022, a flower and garden festival exhibiting various species and cultivars as well as ornamental plants, has been extended to Sunday. Federal Territories Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Shaidan Kasim said, in conjunction with the school holidays which ends on Sunday, entrance to the festival will be free beginning tomorrow to enable parents to take their children to the festival.
Walaupun kita tahu bahawa kutipan tiket kita tu masih tidak dapat menampung kos kita, tetapi itu bukan matlamat kita. Matlamat kita ialah untuk rakyat Malaysia. Persembahan daripada keluarga Malaysia Putrajaya. Sekarang ni kita dah capai 400,000, dia akan lebih lagi 100,000. 5 hari sudah pasti orang akan bertambah datang dan kita bagi lawatan percuma.
Located in Anjung Floria, Precinct 4 here, there are about 10,000 orchids and 400,000 various plants on display. The Royal Floria Putrajaya 2022 also showcases Taman Keluarga Malaysia with a concept adapted through the 3 values of inclusivity, togetherness and gratitude. Dato' Sri Shahidan in the meantime also declared the Bunga Raya hibiscus as the official flower of Putrajaya. Foreign segment, thousands rally in Indonesia as anger simmers over fuel price hike. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob has congratulated Mary Elizabeth Truss on her appointment as Britain's Prime Minister. Truss is the 3rd female British Prime Minister after Margaret Thatcher and Theresa May. In a Facebook post today, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri wished Truss all the best in carrying out her duties. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri also hoped that Malaysia and United Kingdom relations will continue for the well-being of the people of both nations. The 47-year-old Truss won the ruling Conservative Party's leadership contest on Monday, replacing Boris Johnson. Prior to this, she has held various positions, including the Secretary of State for Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Affairs. Thousands of people rallied in Indonesia's biggest cities today, seeking to pile pressure on the government to reverse its first subsidized fuel price hike in 8 years amid soaring inflation. Under pressure to control a ballooning energy subsidy budget, President Joko Widodo said he had little choice but to hike subsidized fuel prices by about 30%, an unpopular move in a country of 270 million people. Oil prices are about 32% higher than a year ago. By midday, protests were underway in and around the capital Jakarta and in the cities of Surabaya, Makassar, Kendari, Aceh and Yogyakarta, among a series of demonstrations led by students and labour unions that police say could draw tens of thousands of people this week. Thousands of police were deployed across Jakarta, many guarding gas stations, fearing those could become targets of mounting anger over a price hike that unions say will hurt workers and the urban poor the most. Today's protest started peacefully, with no early reports of violence or arrests. Thousands gathered in Jakarta wearing red or orange bandanas, marching and chanting slogans denouncing the government move and calling for an increase in the minimum wage. Kenya's Supreme Court on Monday upheld William Ruto's victory in the 9th August presidential election, capping weeks of uncertainty as weary citizens voiced relief over a peaceful conclusion to the prolonged political process. The verdict dealt a blow to challenger Raila Odinga, who had alleged fraud and filed a petition against the poll outcome, which saw Deputy President Ruto scrape to victory by a margin of less than 2 percentage points in a tightly fought race. Although voting day passed off peacefully, observers feared that the dispute outcome could fuel violence in a country with a history of post-poll unrest, with over 1,100 people killed in politically motivated clashes in 2007. Ruto struck a conciliatory note, promising to extend a hand of brotherhood to his rivals, including Odinga, a veteran opposition leader now backed by outgoing President Uhuru Kenyatta and the ruling party. Ruto will be sworn in on 13 September, becoming Kenya's 5th president since independence from Britain in 1963 and taking the reins of a country beset by inflation, high unemployment and a crippling drought. As Ruto supporters celebrated, Odinga, 77, said he respected the ruling but disagreed with its substance. Coming up in sports, Azizul Hasni, Boni crowned top athletes in 700 plus awards. National track cycling ace Datuk Muhammad Azizul Hasni Awang and national powerlifter Boni Bunya Gustin were crowned as Athlete of the Year and Para-Athlete of the Year respectively at the Sports Writers Association of Malaysia SAM 100 Plus Award 2020-2021. Datuk Azizul Hasni and Boni received a trophy and 10,000 ringgit cash each from the Minister of Unity, Datuk Halimah Muhammad Sadiq. Sama-sama kita saksikan video khas Datuk Azizul Hasni, the Terengganu-born cyclist, silver medal winning effort in the Keirin event at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics last year was instrumental in his selection for the award for the 4th time after having won the award in 2009, 2017 and 2019. Datuk Azizul Hasni also won 2 bronze medals at the 2020 World Championships in Berlin via the Keirin and sprint events respectively. The Pocket Rocket Man edged 3 other nominees for the awards, namely Datuk Pandali Larinong, Aaron Jasowiyik and Rifdin Masto. Powerlifting, Boni Bunya Gustin, winner of the powerlifting gold medal at the 2020 Tokyo Paralympics last year, becomes a second-time winner of the SAM 100 Plus Award since he had also won the same title in 2019. American Francis Tiafoe played the match of his life to beat second-seed Rafael Nadal 6-4, 4-6, 6-4, 6-3 in the 4th round of the US Open yesterday. It was the first time this year that Nadal, who had been chasing a record-extending 23rd Grand Slam title, has been beaten in a major. The Spaniard had triumphed at the Australian and French Opens this year before withdrawing with an abdominal injury before his semi-final at Wimbledon. Meanwhile, Spaniard Carlos Alcaraz defeated 2014 champion Marin Cilic 6-4, 3-6, 6-4, 4-6, 6-3 in one of the latest ever finishes at the US Open on Monday to set up a next-generation quarter-final clash against Jannik Sinner. All right, so that concludes this evening's news at 10 in our top story. Drone industry set to soar with action planned as national agenda. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. I'm Syuhaida Arifin. Stay tuned to saluran Berita RTM. Salam keluarga Malaysia and have a pleasant evening.